Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Our first episode of the year. Come on, baby. It's 2024. We in here like swimwear and we're ready to rock and roll. I mean, we knocked down some doors. We knocked down some doors and we knocked down a couple too. No one was home, apparently. But 2023 was everything we wanted and more. I hope it was for you guys as well, man. We got some trials, got some tribulations, got a couple different things. We don't got trials, but we got trials and tribulations. You feel me? But we're excited, man. We're excited to get rocking. We're excited to get rolling. We got the #1 overall pick in back-to-back years. And mama, I plan and intend on using this one. I'm playing no games. Tonight, we're doing a whole breakdown on the one, the only, Marvin Harrison Jr. But we have to have the real #1 wide receiver in OSU coming on the show today talking about this. My brother, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the MVP of primetime, the LSD Lakeshore Drive Flag Football League of 2023, and the champion. My brother, James Morgan, hopping on the show, OSU alumni. James, baby, how we feeling, man? How's it feel, James?
We feeling good, man. We feeling great. Big OSU OH to everybody. And if you ain't with us, you against us, and you already know what it is.
Most definitely. Now, hey, man, listen. I want to talk to you a little bit first before we get into the Bears, before we talk about Fields and Marv. Man, what's going on with them bowl games, James? We got guys not wanting to play. We got guys not declaring, hey, yeah, we ain't going to the draft, but we just don't want to play in this bowl game. How are you feeling about that, man? What's happening in the bowl game world?
Oh man, I mean, I could take this in like 3 different directions, seeing as I've been in a predicament or a situation like that, or experience like that, I should say. But some people are protecting their draft stock, which is fine, right? That's one thing. Some people are weird. That's another thing. And then, the secondary or in the middle thing is like maybe it was a coach's decisions or maybe it was, something like that. So it's a lot of different variations that could go. Personally, if I can play and it's worth it to play, I think that's the biggest thing as a collegiate athlete that has aspirations to want to play on the next level. You want to make sure it's worth it, right? Like you don't want to just go out there and then potentially hurt yourself and fuck up your draft stock or anything in the middle like that. But I think it's also important to, if you are considering like that could be your last opportunity to boost your draft stock. So it's a lot of different factors. But people gonna choose what's best for them, right? So it's people that, if they don't want to play, I don't want to say they're not passionate about the game or they don't care about like sometimes people just don't want to play, and I guess that's okay too. Like that's up to you, right? But at the same time, you got to be willing to understand that it's going to be looked at and scrutinized either way. Some people are going to applaud you for it. Some people are going to look at you and be like, "You a bozo." So, but as long as you're doing what you think is right, that's all it is.
No, most definitely. Like we had this conversation last year, man, and we talked about it with OSU, Jackson Smith and Jigba didn't want to be a part of that, potential championship caliber run. And I even spoke highly on that. Like, man, bro, if Marv and JSN were in that game, I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, we should have won that game anyway, but that's a different story.
I'm not gonna sit up here and make you speak on anything you don't want to speak on, but I'm calling national champs if they would have been in that game, man.
I mean, if and again, I don't want to speak down on nobody. Shout out TCU for even having that magical run.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Georgia for winning as usual. But like the way that game was going and the way that Marv was cooking up Kyler Ringo before that injury, yes. And then if you add JSN to that, yes. Stroud was cooking, like Stroud was doing stuff we ain't seen Stroud do before. Like he doing the stuff that last game. I think that was looking forward after what we have seen now from CJ Stroud. But that game specifically is what we are seeing now from him. Like we saw him create stuff with his feet that we never, OSU watching OSU games, literally being at practice with him, like sitting there being like, like he do that, but you don't really do that, and then seeing it in the game and like him putting receivers in situations, putting himself in situations to succeed. It was like, damn. And then obviously, having the run he had his rookie year, despite the injury, but that roller coaster of a season that he's had.
MVP,
been great to see.
To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, without his injury and without Tank Dell's speedy recovery, getting hurt, like, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Shout out to Lamar, right? But it's like
Oh man, nah, it's not shout out. Lamar Jackson is the reason I am not a football or a fantasy football champion right now. That's of
Man,
2023. Lamar out here just said
Jackson,
49ers
Jackson.
get the fuck out of here, but skedaddle. But man, we break that down though, and we talked about it, man. And you and I talked about it throughout the year. We were just joking around all year long. Bears getting number one pick. Bears getting number one pick, and it always felt like a sure thing. We never questioned it. We never felt like we were in doubt because obviously it was out of our control. But we saw how Carolina was moving, and sure, Adam Thielen rejuvenated his career, but the rest of that team was basura. That team was trash. That team was not doing anything. And the beautiful thing I think we saw from this season was as we got the number one overall pick, aside from last year we got the number one overall pick, and it was like, yeah, we earned that. Like it was a horrible year, but we saw so much from a Bears team this year. Currently, I think we're 8 or 10 in the draft right now. I think it's 10 for our own pick, and then
Yep.
obviously having the number one overall pick clinched yesterday. Man, James, a roller coaster of emotions yesterday. Bears win 37-17 against Fields' hometown. You
Yep.
got Soldier Field. James, I want to show you this video. I love this video because I know you love Fields. You're big on JF1. This Soldier Field after the game, just cheering for Field. Hey, man, let me tell you something. 23 years I've been on this green earth. 24 almost, technically. You got Rex Grossman, Kyle Orton, Josh McCown, Jay Cutler, Foles. I mean, we're talking about Matt Barkley's of the world, Trubisky's, Fields, everybody. I have never seen this happen as a Chicago Bears fan, and I loved it. We want Field, James?
Yes.
Hey, man.
Yes.
That's love, bro. That's
beautiful.
That's a part of my language, but that's so fucking love, bro. Because I've been watching this kid since me and you talk about it all the time about guys like Trevor Lawrence, guys like Tyler Hero, John Morant, guys like Justin Fields. That's our draft class. Those are our guys. You know what I mean? We would have graduated with them if we went to school together. So we've been following them on Max Prep Sports, obviously QB1 Beyond the Lights, college football. Man, we was even watching Justin Fields at Georgia when Georgia didn't even know how to utilize him, and now we're seeing him at OSU, Chicago. To see him get to where he is today after, man, even, I got to say it, I got to keep that same energy. Guys like me said, maybe there's a quarterback controversy with the Tyson Bagent stuff. There was a controversy. There really was, because from what we had seen, and I told everybody this from the jump, it has nothing to do with Fields' talent, but has everything to do with winning football games. That's something we hadn't seen. Now we're seeing, man, James, this is what a beautiful second half of the season we've had, bro. Where are you at right now as it pertains to Justin Fields going into year 4, whether that's with the Bears or elsewhere? What are you looking forward to see?
Man, I mean, if everything go as it should, he should still be a Bear. I don't know. I mean, I'm always be a Bears fan, right? It's my city, it's my hometown. But man, I would not feel good. I would probably feel as bad as I felt when we decided to start Rex Grossman instead of Kyle Orton in the Super Bowl, because Rex Grossman was hurt the entire year, and then Kyle Orton not only got us to the Super Bowl, but then he didn't start that game, and then we lost to Peyton Manning. Anyway, that I would probably feel as bad as that.
James, real quick, you ready for this?
Yeah,
Do you know who we lost to in that game?
Yeah, Peyton Manning.
You know who else we lost to in that game?
No, who else we lose to?
Marvin Harrison Sr.
Indeed, we did.
Got that picture? You see that picture of little Marvin Harrison Jr. just enjoying the ring, enjoying the ball? Hey, man, listen. I know we're talking Fields right now, but all I'm saying is, history's got a funny way of writing stories, writing narratives. Yo, listen, daddy beat us in the Super Bowl, so let's right that wrong. Let's have you win a Super Bowl in Chicago. That's
crazy.
It's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. But I agree with you on so many levels with the Field stuff, man. I mean, first and foremost, Luke Getsy gotta go. Don't know how anybody feels about Flus. I'm a big believer. I know you're a big believer in consistency in the offense. We did that all year long with primetime. We tried to run the same things, and it works. You know what I mean? And you continue to grow on that. And the problem is, and I've talked about this with other people, wanted your opinion on it. We talk about Jay Cutler. Sure, Smoking Jay. People had a lot of different opinions, how you feel about his motivations and his leadership and all of that. But one thing is true. 8 offensive coordinators in 6 years in Chicago. 7 of them were first-time NFL offensive coordinators. Others were quarterback coaches previously or offensive lineman coaches, maybe even offensive coordinators in college, but no experienced guys. I believe Adam Gase was the only one that had that experience. You look at that, though, and Justin Fields going into year 4, presumably, if Luke Getsy is fired, will be on his 4th official offensive coordinator in 4 seasons. It's Bill Lazor, Matt Nagy. Obviously, you look at a guy like Luke Getsy and now whoever. Where are you at as it pertains to keeping Flus? Because my big thing is, listen, Flus, second half of the season, bring in Montez Sweat, bring in real pressure in the front 7, and that's great. Top 5 defense. I ain't going to lie. I mean, it looks great. And I've heard guys actually want to fight for him, so that's cool too. But the problem is, say we get an offensive coordinator, James. I want to throw this scenario at you. Okay, so say he's a Ben Johnson, a Brian Dable, right? Justin Fields has an MVP season. That offensive coordinator will be able to say, I brought the Chicago Bears back from the dead. I made Justin Fields an MVP caliber player. I did all of this different stuff. Now I want to get hired as a head coach. So boom, now Justin loses his OC. Now we have his 5th offensive coordinator. Or on the other side of that, dude that we hired might just be trash as well. So like, where are you at as it pertains to not bringing in an offensive minded guy to be the head coach of this team?
Yeah, it's a tough question, right? I think if we talk of consistency, I think we keep Flus, maybe not as head coach, but definitely defensive coordinator. I think that literally fits his bill. Because yes, like at the beginning of the season, we talked about how the 2-second controversy, quarterback controversy, but a lot of that was also because our defense was losing us games. I mean, obviously our offense wasn't winning us games either, but our defense wasn't doing anything either, right? But the offseason we had in terms of getting linebackers, in terms of trying to solidify our secondary. Hopefully we keep Jalen Johnson, et cetera, et cetera. But I think, the second half, pursuing Montez Sweat, kind of rejuvenated the life in that defense. We started to our defense has started to win us games, literally, right? I mean, also lose us games. That Lions game, the first game, we're not going to talk about, but win us games, right? And that, if our defense is doing what it's supposed to do, it makes the offensive job a lot easier. It should, right? In turn, but then it comes down to, okay, who is our offensive coordinator? And I look as a receiver, I love screen passes, right? I bet you do. Yeah, I look. You see me take a few to the crib, but it's like I'm not running that every time, right?
Right.
It don't make sense to run a screen pass on 3rd and 10 on our opponent's side of the 50 or our side of the 50.
Like for you though, like, all right, so check this out. In that emotion state, like for me playing safety, you see me, bro. I'm just out on my island. I'm minding my business. As long as the front 7's doing their job, I'm not complaining. And I feel like that's normally how most defensive players feel. You are playing your role, and it doesn't really affect each other as long as everyone's doing their part. If the scheme doesn't fit for you, that's one thing, but more times than not, you're good. You're just showing up and doing what you're doing. I don't mean to make it sound like it's a 9 to 5, but it really is on defense. On offense, every single factor matters. So as a receiver, say you're DJ Moore, 3rd and 10, the majority of this season, up until maybe the last couple of games, even against the Cardinals, James. Like, we're talking about screen passes against the Cardinals. What are we doing here, James? Like, how are you feeling as a number 1 wide receiver when you have a play caller that won't let you get the ball?
It's frustrating, for sure, right? Like, you want to put your faith in the person, in the you're a cog in the machine, right? You want to be able to look your offensive coordinator or whoever's calling the plays in the face and be like, I got faith in you to call, at least tangible plays. I don't, as a number 1 or even as a receiver in general, you on the field is different, right? Like, I have a whole different personality when I'm on the field, but in general, right?
Really quick. This man's a psycho. This man's crazy. This man James is, hey man, I'm just locked in. And then the second the game start, I mean, bro, like maybe a little vocal here and there, but more times than not, silent. Not a word, not a joke, not a laugh, not a giggle, nothing. Just my man's is just there. Now on the sideline, he's cool again. Second he walk on that threshold, it's scary hours, man. It's
It's about
scary hours.
business. That's how I was. That's how all my football years and continued years since I've been six. I'm playing football since I was six, but since the one thing that was taught to me by the wide variety of coaches I had is to everything on the field was on the field, and as soon as you step off that threshold, you go back to. I wouldn't say I change personalities, but it's like once I know it's about business, it's about business.
It's
And
about
then
it's
once I know, we could be friends once we offside, cool. Like
100%.
I'll tell a story about the experience we. But well, you wasn't there.
I
But
wasn't
you've
there.
heard it. You wasn't the one game you wasn't there, man.
My stomach hurt.
Legendary story, right? But this was a game, a flag football game that first of all, that league was not competitive. I was mad. Anyway, that's a different story. I'm gonna stay focused.
League was up.
I had came about 15 minutes late because I had I'm not gonna put my personal business up there too much, but there was some stuff going on with my best friend and his family that I was attending to. So my emotions were already like all over the place, right? Got to the game. It was tied. And I was like, okay, well, that sucks. So then I lock in, I'll change clothes. As soon as I get in the field, I'm quiet, the alias, silent assassin, whatever you want to call it. I end up scoring really quick. We score. But during that process, one of the opposing people step on my foot. So I usually don't do this, right? Like my foot gets stepped on every time I play football. It's just a part of the game. But immediately, because of the emotional stuff I went through, the first thing that went through my head was, "Oh, you did that on purpose." Bet. So the first thing I said was, "Oh, so he's stepping on people's feet now." Cool. He was like, "I ain't even doing it on purpose." I was like, "That wasn't on purpose." Bet. So rest of the game go. It's about we win the game. Obviously, it wasn't pretty, but we won the game. Yeah, I'm no shit, but we won the game. But at the end, I score again, and it's literally no time left on the clock, and I'm mad, I'm emotional, blah blah blah. Step on my foot again. It's like cool. I'm like, we going for two. Everybody like, what? I'm like, we going for two. Throw me a fade. I say it out loud. I do not care. Say it out loud. I run the fade. Literally, excuse my language. To if you got children watching, I apologize. I put my dick on this dude's head.
Oh man!
Catch the ball. Throw the ball at him. I'm looking at the ref like he's a dickhead. I call him a dickhead like 10 times. Like he's a dickhead. He's a dickhead. I put my dick on his head. The ref is like,
one time, bro. There's one time I miss a game and James want to talk crazy.
I popped it, but it's because of this outside stuff that I let affect inside of my game, right? So, but I usually don't happen. I've had times where I've had shit going on, but
real cool. Like I want to clarify. Real cool cat. Like really friendly. Not a bad guy. Like he's shaking hands after the game, kissing babies, signing autographs, switching jerseys, jersey swaps. Great guy. But from what I was told happened in this game, it's so unfortunate too because exactly what James is saying, how he's acting in one game, that's me every game. That's me. I'm getting I'm getting into it with. I mean, I was talking to Thomas the other day, and I was like, man, bro, like same situation. Dude kicked me in my knee. I said, hey, bro, we kicking knees now? He goes, nah, bro, nobody kicked your knee. I said, oh, the same note? Okay, cool. Nobody kicked my knee. Same nobody that's about to break your jaw. Woo, woo, woo. And we got into it. What happened? 3 weeks later, James, 3 sacks in a row, start off the game. Boom, boom, boom. That fourth drive, I still think about it to this day. What would have happened if I didn't get a concussion on that fourth drive from Thomas? I promise you, bro, I'm going for 6 sacks. I was going for 6 sacks at minimum, not even playing the second half. Like, I was cooling, bro. And that's what we were, though, man, like all season, bro. And I know we got off topic, so people are probably like, man, talk about the Bears.
Right, what are y'all talking about?
Man, we're talking about the real football team in Chicago. We're talking about prime time football, baby. I mean, come on, go Bisons. But man, it was crazy season. But we look back into the Bears, man, and you look at Justin Fields and what we've seen getting into that first year. I don't even look at that. I really don't. The Matt Nagy era, I can't. You can't. First start, sacked 8 times. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like,
what are we doing?
That whole season was just a wash. Year 2, saw a man rush over 1,000 yards, break Michael Vick's single game record, break other records as well, top 3 rusher in a single season. You love to see it. Now, year 3 was really all right, what are we going to see? And unfortunately, bro, and I love I love Pro Football Focus, but I hate Pro Football Focus because they'll give you a stat line saying the Bears have a top 3 offensive line. And we all know that the only reason that's maybe a fact is because, and that's obviously me over exaggerating, but they say we have a great offensive line, but they don't talk about the fact that Justin Fields is scrambling for his life. And that's why it looks like we have a great line.
All right.
But, oh, yeah, they give him over. Yeah, Fields has over 20 seconds statistically. It's because he's running for about 17 and a half of them. Like, let's be real. But, it's something for me to where I wanted to see maybe not 4,000 passing yards, maybe not 40 passing touchdowns, but I wanted to see that dual threat guy, a Jalen Hurts of last season that we saw last year, take that next step with DJ Moore. Now, DJ Moore, to that point of Pro Football Focus, career highs in every category, yards, everything. I mean, we're going crazy. The yak is crazy with DJ because he got all them screen passes. But you look at that though, and you say everything worked. Everything worked. And let's be real, Flus did something no coach in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, has done. Now, James, here on this podcast, if you break history, we're going to talk about it, whether it's positive or negative. The man blew 3 leads with less than 10 minutes left, with a 95% chance to win those games. That's NFL history. So right now, as it sits, the Bears would be what? 10 and
in the playoffs.
10 and 5, 10, something crazy. 10
in the playoffs.
Wins already in the playoffs, without a doubt. Already ahead. You're in a conference, or you're in a division more so. You got 3 guys basically tied. I mean, you got the Packers, the Vikings, and the Bears fighting it out right now. The Bears have been eliminated mathematically, but they're all within a game of each other outside of Detroit. So, I mean, this was a division that could have been won by the Bears. The Lions were good, but the Lions weren't great. And that's really where we were at with it all year long. They did get robbed the other night, though. I'm not going to flodge. They
did.
That was horrible. But, where do you rank Justin Fields year 3 versus what you expected from the beginning of the year versus what you actually ended up seeing?
Honestly, it's underwhelming, but not for the reasons that the word's connotation it sounds like. Like, I'm saying it's underwhelming, but more so it's because of I feel like they really didn't let him loose until just now. Or at least after this injury. Because before, like the first 3 games we played, I was like, what team am I watching? Like, we weren't calling any designed anything for him. Wasn't letting him be a playmaker. I don't know. They was,
It was like it felt like Brock Purdy-esque. It felt like you're not allowing him.
It's like let's make him a system quarterback. And I'm like, I guess, right? Which was weird, right? It's like, don't shy away from the stuff that works. And obviously nothing was really working in the first 3 weeks that we played, right? But then, I want to say the first game to my recollection that, it was like, okay, this is Justin Fields that I'm used to seeing. It was that Broncos game. Obviously we lost that game, but it's like the play calling made sense. The way that he was able to not only create things when things went awry, but everything made sense. Cool. That game against Minnesota, barring he doesn't get injured, he probably has another career game, right? So I'm like, damn, he gets injured. We have the 2-second controversy, and then he comes back. And since he's been back, it's been kind of that same consistent, okay, like we haven't won all of those games, which I can't blame on him necessarily because play calling,
right?
What are we doing?
There were, and gotta keep it a buck all the time.
Got to.
I would say 75% of why we lost games this season was because of coaching decisions. Whether that's Getsy or whether that's Flus, I would blame it on coaching. And even I'm not going to listen. You think you're safe just because you departed early. Alan Williams was a dog shit DC. I'm not gonna lie. So don't get that. I don't care if you got fired for HR reasons. You should have been fired way before that.
Basically, right? Exactly.
Come on, HR reasons all day long. Don't forget about the running backs coach too. Y'all ain't safe. I remember y'all weird. And you know what? Flus is weird too because he hired him. But anyways, that's a whole different pot. But the point of that is, I would say there was about 20% I would put on Justin Fields when you come to offensive faults. And a part of that is obviously, listen, I'm there Christmas Eve. I got my ticket. My guy, Rob Scott, we always are on DraftKings or FanDuel. We're doing our thing. This is not sponsored. I'm just saying.
Sponsor. No, so.
Arizona versus Chicago, we got everything locked in. Everything solid. I see a wide open DJ Moore up the seam James, all I need is 40 yards from DJ Moore and a touchdown. And Christmas is saved. Everybody's getting gifts. I mean, James gets a signed Marvin Harrison Jr. OSU jersey. Everybody gets something. Man, tell me why this man, instead of a wide open DJ Moore up the seam, man, I'm gonna get Robert Tonyan for a good 2 yards. We're gonna kick a field goal. Man, Justin, bro. Like, you have these conversations about, hey, listen, you're just not seeing it. You're not seeing it. You're not taking that shot. I don't know if that's because you've been groomed to not take those shots for the last 3 years. Obviously, the last 3 years, they have not given him the ability to take those deep shots consistently. And when he does, guys like Darnell Mooney just give him reasons not to. But whole different conversation. But it's just a big donut right there. But it's something for me to where I still notice those flaws, and that's something we can work on. We talk about our next segment, our final segment is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. And we're going to talk about how that could potentially help, because you got Justin Jefferson out here catching balls from guys who don't even have last names on the back of their jerseys. But and completions too, completions too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, gutter balls too. But
right.
They be trying to kill him.
I still see the flaws though from Justin. Is there anything in year 4 you think needs to happen in order to get an extension?
Consistency. I think that's the main thing. Like, I think what people lose sight of in terms of when we analyze players or when we look at games, especially if you haven't played a football game in your life or you haven't played a particular position and are actually like here with it, like, you can talk about it all you want to, but if you haven't played the position at a high level, like, you got to give people some leeway, right? This is year 4. Again, we talked about the inconsistency with offensive coordinators or whatever, right? That's one thing. But I also think that once he has a consistent player base around him, obviously DJ Moore is going to stay. And again, this is the next segment, but if we do draft Marvin Harrison, I would think that Marvin Harrison will be there for more than a year. Right. I don't know if we keep Mooney, to be honest.
We could talk about that next topic.
Right. But I think when he has the what I'm getting at is when he has a consistent pathway of people that he can rely on to throw the ball to, he'll be, and also in a consistent offensive line. But that'll allow him to see the field better, because if I'm screaming for my life because I know the left side of my offensive line is ass, or I know the blitz is coming from that way and I have no protection, I'm not going to be able to see the wide open person there. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be able to, I can't look at him and fault him, because we miss open shit all the time. Like, it happens. I've seen the greatest of quarterbacks miss open throws sometimes. Like, and I think that's where we kind of lose sight of, like, Justin Fields inconsistent. Like, yes, he does miss things at times, but it's also, let's look at where the play was going anyway. Why am I looking to my backside shoulder, or why am I looking on the offside of the play if I know the direction of the play is going this way? It's very much a hard way to, if I know the play is going this way, to want to look immediately here and be like, oh shit, he wide open. Like, that's something that if you don't look at as a quarterback, that's not your first read or second read or third. I'm sure right. DJ Moore on that particular play, I'm not thinking about it in my head at the moment, but he probably wasn't the first read. So it's like,
no, 100%. And, the hardest part for me is, especially when we talk about reads, even as a safety, man, like, we talk about it all the time. Like, okay, listen, respectfully, part of my language again, and we're going to do it again. If wide receiver 2 and 3 are ass, I'm in a great spot. Because normally what you're going to do is you're going to look at your transitions. You're going to say, okay, I got to look at 1, 2, 3, make the ball, throw the ball, make the read. Got to do what you got to do. You have like 5 seconds at most to do it. You have to look at all of your different options. And when options 2 and 3 aren't even there, and you're kind of waiting for that separation, that break, you already missed 1. Because 1's no longer open. 1's in a different whole situation. It's a whole island. A second changes where you are and what that DB is doing. So I think the big issue with Fields is Darnell Mooney, is because of guys like Tyler Scott, Velus Jones, who haven't been able to get to that level. When you make reads, to be completely honest with you, everybody's talking about Darnell Mooney. Why has he had this big drop off from 1,000-yard receiver in 2021 to where he is now? One, the injuries. We got to talk about the ankles. We got to talk about him being undersized already. So there's definitely a lot that can't be worked with as of right now, because obviously he came into the season with that nagging injury. He's not who he used to be, and we know that. He tried to get a little bigger, but that doesn't change height. You can't teach height. You can't work your way into the gym. Trust me, I'm 5'8". I've tried. But, with that being said, though, you break that down and say, okay, cool. So your reads to me are DJ Moore, respectfully to Cole Kmet. I still think Cole is the third option. It's DJ Moore, roll out, or Cole Kmet. And that's really where I'm at with it. And if that's your options, I think you're in a situation where you're going to fail 9 times out of 10, especially when you got an offensive play caller whose job is to just call screens all day. I mean, you're looking at DJ, there's the screen. Now what are you going to do? Mooney's just standing there, and he's not blocking well. Tyler Scott, when he does get into the game, respectfully to Tyler Scott, because what I loved what him and Desmond Ridder did in Cincinnati together, hasn't really transpired into being that guy yet, but I think he can be. Velus Jones, we're going to move on because I don't want to talk about Velus Jones. And who's
He's a good running back.
He's looked better as a running
back. He could be a running back. He
could be. I think he's a little small, but I think he could be.
He probably got fumble issues, but
got a lot of fumble issues. He's cleaned it up. He's cleaned it up versus last year. But one thing can change all of that. And we've always talked about, listen, you can have a great roster, but who's the face of the franchise? Not saying Justin isn't, but you need somebody alongside that quarterback. Every quarterback has that guy you pair next to him. You got Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, Keenan Allen. You got Justin Herbert. The list goes on. And then you got guys like the Eagles, who, man, I could name 3 guys you could pair up with Jalen Hurts. You could look at Goddard, you could look at Brown, you could look at Smith. You need that guy. I think DJ is great, but DJ's not
that guy. No, he's that guy. He can be.
He could be, but on a championship team, is he the number 1 wide receiver? I still think the next conversation we're about to have is a guy James knows very well, Marvin Harrison Jr. The episode today was titled Marvin Harrison Jr. We're 30 minutes in and we haven't talked about him, which is crazy. But it's just me and James, man. We just end up talking about shit. But, I think when you look at a guy like Marvin, this isn't like last year. Last year, I think there were a lot of different conversations about what we were going to do with the number 1 overall pick. First and foremost, there were more questions about Justin. Were we going to keep Justin? Ryan Poles, first-time GM, would he want to bring in a new quarterback, or would he want to just rock out with the guy he inherited? We didn't know that. After seeing the images and seeing the love and the positivity that he's given him over the last 17 games, I mean, let's be completely real here, bro. I mean, do you look at a guy like Ryan Poles and think he's capping? I don't get that. I don't get that energy. I don't get that vibe. This man walked into the locker room after a win and hugged this man to death. I mean, that was what I wanted to see. That was what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a guy who believes in his team, a guy who believes in his QB1, somebody that you can look at and say, listen, this is the guy and this is the guy we want moving forward. And I think that's really where we're at right now with Justin Fields, is understanding, listen, we're in a great place. I think we're in a great place, and it's going to continue to get better. But that number 1 overall pick puts us in a tricky situation. James, I want to throw it to you before we even talk about Marvin. Back-to-back number 1 overall picks. Do you have to use that pick at least once? Because what's the chances it happens again? You know what I mean? Like the X factor player that you have the potential of getting, whether that's Caleb Williams, whether that's Marvin, whether that's somebody else, would you be upset if we traded down again?
I would only be upset if we traded down if it put us in a situation where we couldn't get Marv. Like I wouldn't trade down lower than 3, but then considering who has the number 2 and 3 pick, it's like, what would they give us in return, right? Because I don't like, what do the Cardinals have to offer? what the Patriots or whoever's 3 have to offer? Like, do we even want anything from them? Right. So I would be upset if we trade anything lower than 3. Because, and this is biased, right? But this is also from my analytical mind. I do believe we pursue Marvin Harrison Jr. If we don't pursue Marvin Harrison Jr., I would be upset. But then it would have to go. We would either have to reinforce our offensive line, or maybe we go solidifying our D line, maybe our secondary, because we have a lot of cap space as well. So it's a lot of things we can do, in terms of our off season, right? But obviously, the draft is an important part of that. To me, I think we go heavy into solidifying our offense, because I mean, a lot of our offensive players are still on their rookie deals, more like, so it's like, we would be fine with that, right? And then we probably kind of do the same thing we did to pursue a lot of defense in free agency, because there's going to be a lot of defensive free agents that's, they might want a lot of money, but we got the money. So it's like, look, if you want to be here, come on, man. Our linebacking core is fine, right? We don't need to go after linebackers. We probably want to have, if we do decide to keep Jalen Johnson, which I think we should, we probably want to pair him with at least another veteran corner, because all the rest of our corners, respectfully, no. Tyrese Stevens is not bad, but it's like he's young, so
they're not there yet. They're not there
right. Kyler Gordon, not there yet. It's not there a lot of times, but that's regardless. I think we do that. We might also have to look at, potentially another safety. Eddie Jackson's getting a bit old. Shout out Eddie Jackson. I love Eddie Jackson. Brisker should be okay. He gotta find some hands in the off season. I don't know what to tell him.
No, I don't think so though. I really don't think so. On that point, I want to get a little safety talk. I love talking with James about the safety.
We can talk about safety.
What I love about Brisk is that Jamal Adams type energy. The guy, he's like not even Jamal. Let's throw in Adrian Amos. It reminds me so much of Amos, where he's just hit sticking motherfuckers all day.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. No, I'm not saying we go away from him. I'm just saying we need hands. But
Eddie used to be that. Remember the pair when those two were together was dynamic because guys were afraid to catch the ball. Second, Adrian hits you, boom, ball's in the air. Here's Eddie Jackson, scoops it up for a pick six. That 2018, he had what, like 5 pick sixes?
Five of them, yeah.
It was crazy. Should have had 6. But, you look at that, though, and you say, okay, cool. I think all you really need is that ball hawk to bring into that secondary because Jalen's got it. Jalen almost had 4 pick sixes this season as well if he would have just hung on to the fucking ball.
If he needed to find some hands too, but
you know what?
That's why he played defense.
I appreciate the way he plays defense, though. You know what I mean? Like he's the man sticks like glue. He just got no glue on it. He needs to put on his hands. But I think you're in a great place right now defensively. I think the one guy I want to point out is Daniil Hunter. I think you look at a guy like that. Yannick Ngakoue probably leaves in the offseason. DeMarcus Walker. DeMarcus Walker can go. 8 sacks last year was bullshit. He's not coming into Chicago doing that. We all kind of understood that. But, it is what it is. And I think, you bring in Hunter, maybe you pair him up with Sweat, who we already locked up. Yeah. I got a pass rush right there. But I think you're right, though, bro. Like I said, 2022, trade the number 1 overall pick. Makes sense. You have questions at quarterback. You don't know what's happening. You have holes everywhere. You don't have Tremaine Edmonds. You don't have TJ Edwards. You don't have Montez Sweat. You don't have a Darnell Moore. A DJ Moore. Or even, let's be real, you don't even know what you have in Tevin Jenkins at that point. Tevin Jenkins has had a Pro Bowl caliber year at guard, and you didn't know what you had out of him in 2022 because of the back surgery, because of the injuries, and just other stuff that was going on. But, you have that now. You have everything pretty much solidified. I'm not going to sit out here and act like we have a championship roster built, but if you believe in the roster that you've constructed and you believe that they're going to continue to develop, I would say the only places you need to be looking at right now is another pair up if Yannick is leaving, obviously. And even if Yannick's not leaving, I'd prefer an upgrade. Yannick also goes to a new team like every other year. So
every other year, right?
I don't trust him being here long term. And then you look at a center, definitely I'm over Lucas Patrick. He's a criminal, he's a thief, made of glass. He's a double agent. Former Packer said, hey, let me sign with the Bears and steal some money real quick. But let me stop. But I still have questions about Braxton Jones, but I think we can deal with it for another season. And there's just the penalties. It's just the penalties at all. There's the false starts, the holds. It's just got things you could work on, but you just got to work on them. I don't give a fuck if you can work on them. Are you working on them? I think it's important. But the big thing we are missing, and I'm going to continue to reiterate it, Montez Sweat is sweet, but he is no Joey Bosa. He is no Khalil Mack. DJ Moore is sweet, but he is not Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, a guy of that caliber, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. We're going to be talking about the next conversation. Man, you know very well. Over 30 touchdowns in 3 seasons. And mind you, the first one, he only had 3 touchdowns as a whole. Marvin Harrison Jr. in a Chicago Bears uniform, like we mentioned earlier. The son of Marvin Harrison Sr., who beat the Bears in 2006 in the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, GBO, go Big Orange. Always love for Peyton, former Tennessee Volunteer. But with that, where are you at as it pertains to Marvin Harrison Jr.? Not even just alongside Justin Fields, but as a receiver in the NFL, where would you rank him? The route trees he runs, just everything he brings to the table.
Yeah, he's a matchup nightmare. Literally anywhere. You can put him anywhere. I mean, he probably fits into any scheme that any team is going to run. If I'm a corner, like I'm scared. Like, yeah, he's a rookie, but like I'm scared. Like, he's not only does he have size, his hands are amazing. Pause. He catches anything that's in his vicinity for the most part. The route tree, he can run any route that you ask him to run. From any place, like he can line him up outside. Okay, you got the number 1 corner or number 2 corner on. You line him up in the slot. Oh God, if you line him up in the backfield and have him run like something, it's terrifying. Like, just to think about the possibilities of what you could do with him. And then just to imagine him progressing to, I mean, he'll be better than his dad for sure. His development, his work ethic, the things that I've seen late nights at the Woody Hayes and seeing him, basically have a one-on-one battle with all the machines in there by himself. I think whatever team ends up with, hopefully it's the Bears, but whatever team ends up with Marvin Harrison, it will have an amazing caliber person and an amazing caliber receiver on their hands for sure. Like, he could immediately become a number 1 receiver on most teams. But even if you pair him with a team that already has a number 1 or a projected number 1, then it's like, what do you do with that? Because, and this is a scenario, it's not going to happen, right? But imagine a Vikings or a Bengals with already clear-cut number 1s.
Right.
And maybe, I mean, if you look at the Bengals currently, like, okay, T. Higgins is the clear number 2, and then you put a Marvin Harrison on that team.
That's a problem. That's a problem. And you know what? To that,
what do? You lose.
Right. I was gonna even say too, like, listen, you know how I feel about it. I've been vocal. Kevin and I get into it all the time. T. Higgins is a number 1 wide receiver to me, kind of like a DJ Moore. Not there's 1 A's and there's 1 B's. I believe DJ Moore is a 1 B. He's a normal wide receiver 1. He's not that Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson level guy. But I will say this: T. Higgins, to me, with the right quarterback, has the intangibles to be a number 1 wide receiver if a guy like Jamar is not in the building. He's going to get those numbers. He's not a Darnell Mooney fraud 1,000-yard receiver. Like, this guy is a bona fide stud. T. Higgins is somebody that I wanted desperately on this team if we didn't have the number 1 overall pick. I said, man, if Darnell Mooney's out the door, pay T. Higgins. Oh, well, we don't want to.
That's a route we could go as well, though. Like, if things fall to a place where we don't draft Marvin Harrison, we could go after T. Higgins.
I would go after T. Higgins in a heartbeat. You pair up DJ Moore and T. Higgins, I think you have a serious problem. But here's my thing. Who's the X factor? There isn't one. And that's what we've talked about so much. I mean, you're looking at a guy who has, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, you look at what he was able to do this season alone: 67 receptions, 1,211 yards. You look at 14 TDs. The yak is insane. The yak is, don't even get me started on the yak. It's insane. I'll go all day on it. 77 receptions in 2022 after an injury. He had a career high, 1,263 yards with a matching 14 touchdowns. And then 2021, we don't really count. Only 11 receptions, 139 yards, 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns on 11 receptions is crazy. I will say that. It is crazy, though. Alongside guys like Garrett Wilson, though, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, I mean, when you look at all these guys, where would you rank Marvin Harrison Jr. as of late as receivers in OSU? Would you say he's 1 of 1?
Oh, if I'm ranking them, this close to heart too. This is my OSU boys. If we going current, like we going just off what the list you said, he's probably. And I don't want to blame Kyle McCord. Shout out Kyle McCord. I hope he's successful at Syracuse. I'll probably put him at 3. But then if you consider the quarterbacks that Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson had, like if we add that as well, I'm probably putting him at 2. I think he's better than Garrett Wilson. I don't know if he's better than Chris Olave. If we talking college career, Chris Olave's college career is
it's crazy.
Chris Olave's college career is crazy. Garrett Wilson's college career is crazy too. But like, sorry, Garrett Wilson. I love Garrett Wilson. But yeah, I'm gonna personally put Marv at 2. I'm gonna personally put Marv at 2 from that list. But you can't even. He does everything that they can do damn near better. It's the only thing he doesn't necessarily have. He has it, but we haven't seen it to the same extent is speed. Like, obviously he's fast, right? But he hasn't been in situations where he's needed to outrun anybody. Like, if you watch the OSU game, he creates separation with ease. Like it's not like, oh, I need to outrun you. It's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna just look.
Right.
Thanks, appreciate you. Or when we put him on, little crossing routes, he's wide open and he walks into the end zone. We put him on jet motions. Nobody touches him. It's like we haven't had to see, the one, the one thing that we've seen Chris Olave do all the time at Ohio State was just be fast. Like, yes, he can catch. Yes, he's amazing.
Bro, he's down.
Right. But it's like he's just faster. He's fast. Like it's
right.
I think creating separation with speed is one thing, right? Because we've seen some of the best receivers in our league do that.
I mean, look at let's be real, like, not to get off topic. Look at Kev. I mean, Kev alone. Was Kev running the craziest routes all year?
No, he's just fast.
He's just fast as shit. He's got that long stride to him, man.
That's all you take. That's why I wasn't a believer in Tyreek Hill initially. Like when he was with the Chiefs, like I was like, he's just fast. Like he wasn't running routes. He was just running. He was just running. But now Tyreek Hill is kind of scary because he now can run routes, and I'm like, oh shit! Like
my guys I do fantasy with kill me on that every single day because they're like, man, I remember when you said Tyreek Hill was nothing without speed, and I was like, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Stand on business on that. They also killed me because I said Joel Embiid wasn't a superstar, but mind you, this was the time when Joel Embiid couldn't play more than 50 games a year, so I still stand on that as well. Now he is. Tyreek is now great, and it's like those are the conversations you need to have. Is okay, you take away his speed, what is he? Under Mike McDaniels, I'm starting to see, hey man, this isn't just a guy you bail out when Travis Kelce isn't open up the seam. Hey, gotta shoot a shot. Tyreek's open somewhere. Yeah. Now he's a guy. Oh man, he's actually coming across. He's actually running slants. He's running curls. He's running give and goes. He's running 10 and ins, 10 and outs. Everything you want.
They could run some wildcat if they wanted to, but that's crazy. They could though.
Could they throw at 5'10"? Would you want that?
He don't got to throw the ball, but him being in the backfield is scary. I mean, the same reason that if you put Debo, I mean, obviously they're two different players. If you put Debo in the backfield, you have to be like, oh shit, Debo's in the backfield.
See, but I feel like Debo's stature and size is a little different.
Yeah, it's different. He'll bounce off the hit. Tyreek not bouncing off nothing, but just him being in the backfield, you have to pay attention to that because it's like it's a decoy. Think about me in the backfield.
Right.
People they see me in the backfield, they like, oh, what is he doing?
Terrifying.
And that's all it takes. Sometimes I just stood there and I had somebody literally laser focus on me. Like sometimes that's all you need. That creates a situation where somebody has a mismatch, 100%. Which is, to get back on topic, which is why Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Bears specifically would be very important because even if he's not the clear-cut number one or he's 1A or 1B, whatever, somebody's gonna have a mismatch. Either it's gonna be DJ Moore or it's gonna be him.
Or Cole Kmet. You don't even like
right. Cole Kmet could, he could have one of the greatest tight end seasons next year, if albeit because it's like, who are you putting on him? Your second best linebacker, or your linebacker, and you're like, all right, like half, or your strong safety that's probably not gonna be able to guard him.
100%.
Cool. You know what I'm saying? And then we still gonna have a 3. I don't know who our number 3 receiver is gonna be, but it's like.
As of today, unless something changes, because obviously free agency could change. It could be Darnell Mooney if they decide to keep him in the building.
Right. And to be fair,
I'm a big believer on Tyler Scott in the slot. I don't think they've utilized him in the slot enough. I think he's a speedy guy, especially when you pair him up with Marvin Harrison Jr. on one side, and obviously you're going to have DJ Moore on the other with Cole Kmet up the middle, running with Tyler Scott. I mean, you have an offense that, man, Justin Fields ain't even going to want to run. Justin Fields is going to want to.
He's going to sit in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, after 4 years of running for your life, he's going to be excited with what he has, man. But it's going to be interesting. I think one of our last things I wanted to talk about is really just what you mentioned about the speed. And I think it's important because I've made this comparison before. People kind of look at me a little funny. I think when you look at a guy like Marvin, I see Amari Cooper and a Justin Jefferson. I think you kind of look at those two intangibles, maybe even a Randy Moss. Yeah, I've heard that on ESPN before, so I don't want to be basic. But when you look at the route abilities of an Amari Cooper doesn't have the speed like others. But, man, the man runs routes like no other. He's a top 3 route runner in the league. I still believe that. And you know what? This year he kind of showed that in a couple of games, over 200 yards. Shout out Amari for rejuvenating.
Shout out Amari.
Come on, bro. Hey, listen, Cowboys sent that man to the shadow realm. And he said, nah, we're going to the playoffs with Joe Flacco, baby. That's what we doing. So shout out to him. But, with that, I still see the athleticism. I still see the size. I still see the tenacity that he brings, like a Justin Jefferson. And I think that ability right there, maybe the speed's not completely there, but I also think it is. I just don't think
it is. Just hasn't been able to use it.
Right.
He hasn't had a reason to use it. That's the difference. He hasn't had. I think the NFL will allow him because people are fast. I want to make this statement because I feel like some people kind of get it twisted. When we say not fast, we are talking about NFL level fast.
Right.
We're not talking about regular people fast because they outrunning 95% of the people that's going to ask them to race.
100%.
But if you talk NFL game speed from film and from literally seeing him play, like, yes, he is fast. He just isn't the fastest because he hasn't had to be the fastest.
Right.
That's that. Let me make that statement because some people are like, oh, he is fast. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I know he's fast. I'm fast. But we not talking about that. Like, I'm not regular people fast either. Like, it's levels to it.
Right. 100%. And I think it's important to talk about that too as well, because people are like, listen, man, you can do this any day, man. I can run a route. I can get in a yard. And you ever heard the debate? I can get in a yard in the NFL off one play.
Okay. Have fun.
Good luck. Good luck, bro.
luck.
Bobby Wagner out there going after you. Okay. Aaron Donald going after you. Fine. Go for it. Max Crosby, please, bro. Let me see Max Crosby. I promise you, I'm running the other way. We get in negative yards. No problem. I have no problem fumbling that ball. I will hand that ball gift wrap to him. Don't want no problems with that. But, man, bro, like, I think there's so many different ways it can go. I think it's going to be exciting. Man, I told James we was going to be in here for 15 minutes. We've been in here for 51. That's crazy.
Hey, look, it's love, man. Like I said, I had the time today. We talking about the second city. You talking about my alma mater. We talking about people.
The future, man.
Look, people that I've literally seen face to face, had conversations with, and have played with. Like, this is meaningful to me in so many ways. From the team, from the topics, from, this is my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what I do. So I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you wanting to have this conversation with me specifically. It means a lot that you thought about me when you're talking about receivers.
Man, bro, when I rank my OSU receivers, Marvin, Garrett, Chris, fuck them. I put James Morgan one. Hey, y'all don't know nothing about Morgan Street, baby. Let me tell y'all that. But my boy James playing a little professional football in 2024. It's going to be exciting. I'm gonna leave him with that. I'm going to just say, listen, just be on the lookout for James Morgan. Be on the lookout. He's doing some amazing things in Illinois. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, man, stay beautiful, stay lovely. We'll be back with another stream tomorrow. We're going to be talking Chicago Cubs baseball. Why the fuck haven't the Chicago Cubs made a big signing yet? But don't forget, they signed George Alfaro to a minor league deal, so I should be doing backflips. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are out here signing everybody and their mama. Jackie Chan just signed a $12-year $1 million deal. Mike Tyson might be next. Who knows? But nonetheless, in all seriousness, we'll be back. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow us on TikTok. We are now at 14.4 thousand followers. We're trying to hit that 15 by the end of January. Or on Instagram. You can also find James on there as well. James is, what is it? Polo
_Gambino 23. Something like that. I don't know. Y'all ain't got to follow me, man. I don't be.
Hey, man. Follow me. Go onto my followers. Follow Polo. It's either Polo G or it's James. Just know that it's one of the two. And by the way, before we get out of here, not to be unprofessional, let me set the scene. It's New Year's Eve. From what I've been told for the last 6 months, Polo G's dropping an album on January 1st. 11 o'clock. I'll roll in. Tap on my thing. Ooh, let's get it. Hood poet. We there. I'm in there like swimwear. James, he pushed it back to August 2nd, 2024. When I tell you, I'm over it. I'm over it, James. I can't wait till no. Summer's over, James.
All right, August. I look. It's football season again at that point.
Football season. Yeah, I'm in my Rod Wave era now. It's hoodie season. I'm over it. But whatever. Not important. Until then, we'll check you guys out later. Please have an amazing start to 2024. Be kind. Be lovely. Be nicer. Be better. I had a guy shooting up my block last night just for no reason. Come on, bro. Let's get it.